Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears that we are live. Welcome back to another episode of the Mining Market Signal. I'm your host, the guy with the blue hat. And let's jump straight into some news for the day. Right after we look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, today we are at a score of 50. That's right. We're back to 50. We're back firmly into the neutral territory where we did move into greed just a few days ago, and now we dip down below with a little bit of a scare. It tends to correlate almost directly with Bitcoin's price. So here we are, not looking so scary in terms of price. And of course, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index sort of supports that, going back towards neutrality and back up through into greed again. Let me give some shout outs here, guys. We are live. So if you're just tuning in, if you're new to the show or whatever, please leave a comment. This is not such a large channel that we have to just leave it to top chat or just take super chats to be able to interact. Please type. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what your drink of choice is. I've got a little bit of a protein smoothie right here. You ever tell somebody, we'll talk about that in a minute, but let me know what you're having tonight, guys. Beautiful, beautiful August day. The weather where I live is just gorgeous. Went on a long hike with my wife way out in the middle of nowhere. Had a blast. But let me know how your evening is going, guys. I hope you're having a great night tonight. Let me do my shout outs though. Deadwood says, hello, I'll have a great day, and smash the thumbs up. I agree. DMAG says, let's revolt and I'll switch to Ergo. Haha. And Raven Boy Crypto says, howdy. Guys, good to see you in the comment section. As always, thanks so much for sharing this live video so we have more interaction, have more people to chat with. Let me jump out of the way here again, guys. The trend has been up and then back down again, largely correlated to Bitcoin's price. And we'll take a look at our charts for Bitcoin a little bit later on. Do we offer technical analysis, like actual advice via technical analysis? Nah, we don't do that here. Nah, here, what we do is we take a look at all kinds of data points, and then you can make your own choices because you're grown people. You can make up your own mind. You can do your own research. But right now, Crypto Fear and Greed Index, I view this as something of a counter indicator. But when we're neutral like this, really difficult to know exactly which direction to go with the sentiment. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is largely a composite of, basically it's a data scraper that then uses some machine learning to figure out roughly what people are thinking and feeling about Bitcoin largely, and then Ethereum as well. It isn't just Bitcoin, but across Twitter and Reddit. So as people are posting, as people are reacting, as people are commenting, and as people are sharing new videos and sharing new articles, that kind of helps feed this index here. But you see we're on a bit of a roller coaster. As price went up for Bitcoin, so did the greed. And a higher score, of course, indicates more greed. But the greed went up as the price went up. We're back to totally neutral now. Yesterday was at 42. Last week, the average was 50 again. We moved into this sort of range of 50. And I think we're going to see people kind of not knowing which way to go with their Bitcoin and with their cryptocurrencies. We got Sam in the comments section, as well as Kevin Hawthorne. Thanks for saying good evening. It's good to see you tonight. Thanks for being with us tonight. All right, so that's our Fear and Greed Index, guys. I've got a little bit of news, and oh my gosh, is it mean-spirited? I hope it isn't mean-spirited, but I've got a little bit of news. Let me just switch to this really fast. From Forbes, Bitcoin fork suffers massive 51% attack. What do they mean, Bitcoin fork? Actually, it's a fork of Bitcoin Cash, technically, but yep, they're talking about BSV. And what does it say down here? The Bitcoin SV price, which hasn't climbed along with Bitcoin and other major cryptocurrencies this past year, has lost around 5% since the so-called 51% attack. I'm sure that this is hurt. That somebody is hurting right now because they have Bitcoin SV in their portfolio. This has been a long time coming. You guys, you gotta admit, it was only a matter of time. What? We got BCA raid. We got that one guy, Oz, Crypto Bedell. Thanks for stopping by. This is hilarious. And Daniel Keller's in the comment section, guys. This is what we call poetic justice. When you have people who talk about like, oh, only certain people can mine to this blockchain, or only certain people can use my code, which was licensed to MIT, right? A very liberal open source license to let people do what they want with the code. Well, of course, when the consensus rules of proof of work mining work like this, they're functioning as they were intended. They're functioning exactly as Satoshi wrote in the white paper. I mean, the real Satoshi wrote in the white paper. So when the rules are being obeyed, but they just don't work in your favor, you lost. That's how that works. That's all it means. You lost. It's a game. And when you have so little hash rate that you can't even defend against this kind of an attack because you literally have less than 1% of the global net hash of Bitcoin, then you're a sitting duck. So anyway, it's not really news, guys. Seriously, not really news. But I wanted to bring it up just because this stuff happens, right? It absolutely happens. And, boo-hoo. Again, if anybody in our audience holds any BSV, I'm truly sorry for your loss because clearly your portfolio took a hit, but this might be your only warning, right? That was easy for the attackers. That was really, really easy. It was only a question of time. But let's look at our TX Street numbers right now. Take a look to see what the gas price is on Ethereum. Median gas price is 49 Gwei. Looks like that most recent block that's filling up right now is at 47. Take a look at that one, 56, guys. Take a look at that number on that very last car right there, last bus right there before it takes off and is locked in and tells you what the ultimate price is or what the data size is. That tells us what our real time. There you go. That shows us total data. That shows us real time what the Gwei price is or what the gas price is for Ethereum. I love taking a look at this. We've looked at it for a while now. Again, thank you so much for Crypto Mikkel of DCA, DCA Adventure, who I saw using this tool on one of their events. And I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I've looked at TX Street and I've never shown it on a stream. So it's kind of part of our regular mining market signal at this point, but just so awesome. And current US dollar price for the median ETH transfer is almost $3, $2.79, and contract fee $20. Ow! A lot of people clearly who are trying to get some of their smart contracts going for liquidity provision, and then of course for just swapping right now. Lots of volume on some of the DEXs and AMMs. Also wanted to just mention a bit of sad news over on crypto Twitter. A sort of like a well-known crypto Twitter figure went by the name or the handle of Funface. Has passed away, apparently confirmed passed away. So there is an influencer over on crypto Twitter who much of crypto Twitter is mourning for right now. In lieu of a moment of silence, I'm going to cut my background audio and we're going to listen to a song that Funface made and published 2 years ago for other users of crypto Twitter. So I'm just going to let that play for a minute, and I'm going to be silent for a minute. But instead of a moment of silence, I'm going to do a short celebration of life for somebody who we know just passed away, but who brought a lot of joy to other people. So here we go. I'm going to get this guy playing right now.
Chasing time in my mind until I die. A friend departed needn't lie. Today a memory floating on the surface it runs. Little did she know how the rapids flow. Haunted by the past and no longer left in life, we let go. Had anybody known how the river flows? Had anybody known just how the river flows?
Alrighty, guys. That one's called "The River" by Wrecked Tracks. That was the handle of Funface over on SoundCloud, and that was reposted by Euclid and Mystical Oaks over on crypto Twitter. Shout out to some good people there. And sometimes we take this stuff kind of seriously, right? Like crypto markets and some of the stuff that we're involved in. And just a reminder, not to take it so seriously, right? Like at the end of the day, it's just crypto. That's it. Just crypto. And, we have each other, of course, the friends along the way. And then we got our families, right? So just keep it all properly framed. That said, I'm happy to spend this time with you guys tonight and look over the markets, because really, this is what it's all about. All right, so taking a look over back again at TX Street, we see the price of average contract has gone down just a little bit. And Bitcoin, on the other hand, median fee has gone all the way up to 68 cents per transaction. That's a little bit of a bummer if you're looking at doing any kind of mixing, Whirlpool or CoinJoin activity on your Bitcoin accounts. Not a great time to do it. Typically, this is the use case that I talk about on this channel is, well, privacy, right? That's the way you obtain privacy with Bitcoin, is using CoinJoin, the Chaumian CoinJoin, or a Whirlpool transaction, Whirlpool action inside of the Samurai wallet or some other wallet that supports it. It's not built into Bitcoin by default. And let's see. Hey, we got some live comments coming in as well. Skill Checkmates has some questions about the Fluffy Pony situation, and then Aussie Boggin Tech is also just asking or says, sorry if some of my comments came across negative in the Fluffy Pony video. Much respect for you, and thanks for covering. Hey guys, really appreciate that. So there is a little bit of an update. The council for Fluffy Pony has also issued a statement, which I don't have handy for tonight's event, but we can bring that up and I can publish it later on. But they did issue a statement, kind of echoing the sentiment that we had during the live video. Some of us had during the live video, basically saying some of the requirements were kind of ridiculous, and his counsel did allege that the court didn't make a good faith effort to contact Fluffy Pony before they called in the U.S. Marshals to go have him arrested. It's kind of a silly thing. They didn't really go out of their way to contact the guy, and he's not hiding. He's got an apartment in New York. Like, he's got a mailing address, he's got a business, he's got a phone number, and he wasn't properly contacted before the U.S. Marshals just showed up, interceded when he stopped for a refuel event in Nashville and was just about to head out to Mexico. They just show up like, hey, we're the U.S. Marshals. We're going to put you in handcuffs now and throw you into solitary for 2 weeks before you have your first court date, before you are then extradited. The whole thing just seems a bit over the top. So there was an official statement from somebody representing Fluffy Pony, and I apologize for paraphrasing it. It would be a lot better if we actually had that document and we could go through it with a fine-tooth comb like we did the last one. You guys know me. I really like trying to go as close to the source as I can. And I mean, paraphrasing is fun and whatever, like, the antics that we do here on YouTube and all that. But it'd be a lot better if we had more of the straight dope. But we don't. Not today. I apologize. That's what I understand, though, from Fluffy Pony's counsel. That's the current state of things. And apparently the court date is set for tomorrow. So he will stand before some kind of a preliminary court here in the United States before he's then... It's then decided definitively whether or not he will be extradited. So there's one last event for Fluffy Pony here before he's then shipped off to South Africa, and then the South African courts do whatever they're going to do. I'm not very happy with the situation so far. Personally, I think that we could have possibly had a little better due process for countries where we have extradition agreements. Maybe we could have had better due process for foreign nationals like Fluffy Pony, but I don't know how much we can change for this particular situation or this particular case. Kind of a bummer. Again, heart goes out to Fluffy Pony, his wife. Is it Saskia? And I apologize. I don't know his wife's name very well, but apparently she's not being summoned, so she's just hanging out right with her husband behind bars. Kind of annoying. Maybe me asks some questions about London hard fork and which pools will be ready and safe for the London hard fork. Don't have a short list of pools that will definitely be safe for the London hard fork, but if I had to venture a guess, I'd say all of the top pools. So your Ethermines, your Hivons, Ezilme, all of the stuff that has the highest hash rate. And we'll take a look. Maybe there'll be an indicator over on Mining Pool Stats as we check that out tonight. And if they don't have one, Mining Pool Stats, if you're watching, I mean, we've seen changes on what to mine. We've seen changes on Chia Calculator based on stuff that we say on this channel. I suspect, or at least feedback that we're giving them. So let's all kind of like go bug Mining Pool Stats to make that update over on their user interface so that we know immediately at a glance whether or not those pools are London hard fork update ready. But here we are on TX Street. Guys, again, the median fee for Bitcoin is so high right now that if you're going to use privacy actions like CoinJoin or Whirlpool, might not be the best time for that. Might have to wait a little longer. But the same is true of pushing your contracts through on Ethereum. That's rough. $20 to push a contract through. It's dipping a little bit right now, but that's still a very, very high price. Let's take a look at our fiat leak representation of where in the world Bitcoin is going. And it looks like there's a whole lot of US dollars. There's a whole lot of Korean won, whole lot of Japanese yen, a whole lot of Thai baht still. Rubles going into Russia. And then what is our currency here? Ukrainian hryvnia. Wow, Ukraine, loving it some Bitcoin right now. Brazilian real is in the mix, and it looks like the Indian rupee as well. A lot more Indian rupee than we typically see this time of day. Could be that we're going a little bit later, but even still, no, actually that might totally account for it, because the Indian rupee, depending on which side of India you're in, we're almost at about we're about morning time in India today at this point, or tomorrow at this point. So this is a pretty good time to see early morning traders or early morning dollar cost average folks just like getting access to whatever they're doing, or maybe the automated systems automatically drafting bank accounts and getting some of that Bitcoin moving in exchange for the Indian rupee. But in any case, man, you love to see it. All around the world, people are buying Bitcoin right now, or they're making Bitcoin move right now all around the world. Just beautiful. I love this map. Love seeing everybody participate. Though I am a little bit concerned that Canada does not seem to be moving many Canadian dollars into Bitcoin. Maybe I'm missing something? Maybe most of the Canadian exchanges still use like USDT as the base trading pair or something else. So maybe that's why it doesn't show up. Or maybe they're just not really good ways to buy natively with Canadian dollars. Hey, Canadians in the audience, what's up with that? Can you give us some insight? What's happening with buying Bitcoin natively with the Canadian dollar? Do you have to use USD? Do you have to use Euro? Tell us in the comments. Let's take a look at the ETH, see where in the world ETH is going. Currently, our price for Bitcoin is $39,394. Very healthy price for Bitcoin right now, all things considered. And Ethereum at almost $2,700. Again, very healthy price for Ethereum, all things considered. Zotrak says our economy is down. Hey, some Goblin Losers here says, hey, yo. Maybe Me says, thanks for the answer. Love this type of live stream. Hey, appreciate you being here. Haven't seen many of your comments from before, but earlier in our live stream series, but glad you're here now. You're totally welcome. And guys, for anybody who's checking this out, maybe like you're lurking a little bit and you're like, I don't know if I want to subscribe to this guy. Here's the thing. It's free. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe later. But if you do like it, you'll click that bell icon and you'll always know when we're live. Win-win. But here we are checking out the ETH chart, and it's really a lot of USD. A little bit, what is this? Malaysian ringgit. Thai baht. So our Asian markets, or Southeast Asia in particular, is definitely lit up. But Korean won, plenty of Korean trading going on right now. And then the euro, very, very active, but not seeing as many of the other currencies dipping into Ethereum. British pound as well, but not nearly at the level of Korean won. Between both the British pound and the euro, Brazilian real getting into the mix. That's what kind of has me surprised a little bit. Brazilians, there have been several projects in the past where there have been different coin forks that were made in Brazil, like sort of like by Brazilians for Brazilians. Very strong independent culture, very strong independent economy in Brazil. So I'm a little bit shocked not to see more native ERC20 tokens and other things there. Then again, now that I'm just talking through it, we did have somebody as a live commenter the other day mentioning that the average daily income would make it very difficult to deal with some of these fees based on what we see over on TX Street. They said that at least where they lived, their wages would not have been enough to deal with this kind of a contract fee on Ethereum on a regular basis. So if you had an ERC20 token that was even like a local style currency within Brazil, these kinds of fees would make it very difficult to deal with that. Though it does make me wonder about like Binance Smart Chain, Polygon Network, Matic, or the upcoming Pulse Chain, if one of those would be a solution for some of these markets that have been priced out of Ethereum right now with those gas fees. Got some comments coming in from John Clayton saying, what happens during the next bull cycle when the ETH validator network gets crushed? Do they really need to go full proof of stake? Why not use the MEV to incentivize miners when they need proof of work support? That's a brilliant solution. Yeah, hybrid and having MEV as still a strong incentive for there to be a useful hybridized version of consensus. I think you're spot on right there. And seriously, if it were possible, I think that Vitalik has gone on record as saying that ETH 1.0 can continue to live as a child chain of ETH 2.0. However, as far as consensus goes, what he's proposed in the past doesn't go quite as far as what you're saying right here, what you're proposing right now. That'd be amazing if they could. But the ETH core developers, they don't seem very intent on keeping proof of work around at all. They just really don't seem very happy to keep proof of work around at all. So they're the ones you have to convince. Really, at the end of the day, you have to convince the ETH core developers. They say it's a different group. They say they don't really make decisions, but that's simply not true. The ETH core developers have to write the code. They have to submit proposals. They have to get payment from the treasury, and then they have to decide they want to do the thing, right? Like when it comes to building code, somebody has to decide, I want to build this thing. I feel so strongly about it that I'm going to ensure that funding goes through. And then when funding comes through, I'll do the thing like I said I was going to do. Guys, again, let me know in the comment section, what are you having tonight? I'm having a little smoothie that's a little more protein rich. This is something I've done more recently, and you guys are going to, don't freak out, okay? You're not going to freak out, right? This has a half dozen raw eggs in it. Yum. And my viewer count just dropped in half. I'm just kidding. It totally didn't. But that's what I'm having tonight. I'm having an extra protein dense smoothie. It's otherwise entirely otherwise frozen media. So this is always served at its coldest temperature, which is why I'm not worried about salmonella or whatever. It only exists at certain temperatures. But get everybody in the comment section like, what are you doing? That's insane. Yeah, guys, here's the thing, right? Like, eggs are Mother Nature's original full spectrum protein. As far as getting all of the branched chain amino acids, all the essential amino acids, it's good. Daniel Keller says, I'm drinking the tears of Zcash miners. I think there's just enough room in this container for that too, Daniel. I'll toast to that. Salty, bitter Zek tears. Love it. Tasty aftertaste, too. Alexander's Brody says, getting rig power supplies upgraded to have option to move rigs from ETH to Raven. That can be a big deal, right? When you are moving your rigs, or when you're trying to reconfigure your rigs to be prepared for any kind of a ProgPow network, yeah, that jump in power consumption, it's no joke. Yes, you can optimize, but you tend to optimize after you've already run the thing, and it's extremely easy to overload the power supply or the circuit that you're running your power supply on when you first fire up that rig, get the miner running and say, okay, how do I overclock and undervolt, and how do I manipulate some of the parameters to get more efficiency? Really difficult to do unless you have the power overhead to be able to draw from those power supplies. So good luck. I sincerely hope that it goes your way, and you get it optimized so you pull your draw, back, your power draw back a little bit after you got it optimized. Now we have some other comments coming in. Adrian says, just had a few slices of watermelon savage style with my kids. Nice. And that one guy Oz says, almost at my gallon for the day of water. And it's because just straight up water that he's drinking. Jumping back in the comment section, Ozzy Boggantex says, I apologize, I'm saying Boggan, I'm saying Bogan. Sorry. He says, ETH core hate miners and proof of work. Yep, totally true. The core developers at Ethereum, they make no secret of it either. Here's the thing. If you were in their shoes and sometime in 2014, you were given 2,000 Ethereum for one Bitcoin, first off, at that rate, and pretty much only at that rate, you would have just vastly outperformed Bitcoin during the same period of time. Your portfolio would be amazing right now, right? Especially, imagine getting 2 or 3 or 10 Bitcoin at that time and getting the resulting Ethereum, right? So having yourself like 20,000 Ethereum, holding on to them because they told you at launch that it would definitely go proof of stake at some point in the future because it's part of the roadmap. You'd be waiting like, okay, well, I've got 2,000 Ethereum and it's supposed to give me voting rights and supposed to give me governance, and it's supposed to grow the bag passively because it can be staked. You'd be waiting this whole time, like very impatiently, mind you. You'd be waiting, okay, to say, all right, we already did the proof of work thing. When do you deliver on your promise? You sold this to me, promising me proof of stake. So I think that's in part why the developers are so impatient with proof of work. It's annoying to us because it's obvious that we provide a service to them, and that the whole reason DeFi has happened and run as well as it has is because there are miners. But I think that's part of it. Alrighty. Jumping through again. Oh yeah. Sorry guys. A little late dinner there. But we've got maybe me is saying I'm facing the same problem. I need another power supply for my 9X or my 9 5700 XT GPUs. And Alexander's is going to say, he says the second part will be, sorry, I'm a little tired. He says the second part will be reloading the different circuits. LOL. Yeah, that's kind of it's difficult, right? Figuring out what the power signature of a room is going to be and what the thermal signature of a room is going to be. Like, how do you shape everything around this the space that you have your mining rigs in? But good luck. He's upgrading to 1200 and 1400 watt power supplies. That's awesome. And getting some feedback there. Greg, hey. And Greg says, love your face, Seth. Hey, I appreciate that, Greg. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're feeling better. He says, thanks for keeping on. Hey, right back at you, man. Thanks for not doing anything dramatic. I'm glad you're feeling well enough to be here. So we saw our fiat leak numbers. Let's go over to What to Mine to figure out what exactly is happening in GPU profitability. And Brand Central brings up a really good central question. Who's switching to Raven tomorrow? Tell us in the comments, who's switching to Raven? Who's switching to Ethereum Classic? Who's staying on Ethereum and gonna brave it through the upgrade? Who's doing that? Who's gonna stay the course and just see what happens? Tell us in the comment section, guys. I want to see what's going on. Right now, we got the R390 as the base model that we're taking a look at 14 cent power, 1 Bitcoin in daily trading, with averages for 7 days for both profitability and difficulty for revenue. Top of the list is Ergo. What? Ergo just came out of nowhere, and that's 46 cents per day. Dang, you're almost 50 cents a day on this ancient card. Ancient card. Ethereum Classic at 36 cents per day. Ravencoin much farther below at 20, but this is an ancient card. I doubt anybody here has it. R9 Fury, the first HBM or high bandwidth memory card. Let's figure out the numbers for that. Less than 4 gigs of memory on it, so it's not going to do Ethereum, but it does do Ravencoin at $1.20. Dang, that's amazing. Ergo at 75, Ethereum Classic at 58. That's hot. That's just amazing. So going to our Polaris 4 gig cards, let's change the ETH 4G number to 30.5 mega hash per second. Calculate our numbers there. Oh, we got Andrew saying Chia bag holder checking in. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to check our portfolio. Could be that not all is lost. Sincerely, guys, again, I'm going to keep on saying it. I want you to win. I don't care if you're holding a bag for a project that maybe you don't even believe in the fundamentals of, or if you told me I was dumb or ugly or whatever a couple months ago, and now you're well, maybe he's not that ugly, maybe he's not that dumb, and now we're hanging out. I still just want to see you win, man. That's why I'm doing this. So let's see what happens in our portfolio later on. Don't want to do any spoilers right here though. But for our 4 gig Polaris card, we've got Ravencoin at the top of the list at 114, Ergo at 104. Man, Ergo is really profitable right now, and we're doing these averages, guys, so that's a little bit of a surprise. Ethereum Classic at 98 cents. Didn't expect that, but it's still about $1. Several at about the $1 mark there. That's great. 8 gig Polaris card. Let's calculate, and it really should be Ethereum here. Yep, $199 for Ethereum, but Ravencoin at $111, really looking pretty good. Ergo at $111 as well. Ethereum Classic at $95, which not great, but you got plenty of good options here. If even on your 8 gig Polaris cards or your older cards, you're you know what, I don't really want to stick with Ethereum. You got some great options here at over $1 each on ancient cards that probably should have been moved off the market anyway. The fact that they're still giving you over $1 each every single day is kind of unreal right now. So Ravencoin and Ergo there. As far as profitability, Vega 56, our first HBM card or HBM2 card with the Vega core, bottom of the line there. Ergo is top of the stack at 338. I did not imagine that it would outperform Ethereum, but there it is, black and white. 333 for Ethereum every day, 338 for Ergo. So maybe this is the way to go if you're on a Vega card, Vega 56, because you're doing far better than you would on Ravencoin at 207, right? And then Ethereum Classic at 165. Granted, all of this presupposes that you don't think it's going to grow in value after you get the coins, or you're just liquidating your coins as soon as you get them, or you are pegging to stable coins, or you're going to DeFi or something, right? Liquidity pairing or liquidity provision in order to do yield farming. So many different options, but Vega 56 looks pretty good on Ergo. Didn't think that would be the case. Vega, or the top of the line Vega Core with HBM2 memory, is technically the Radeon 7, so let's go there. Hit calculate, and at 14-cent power, we've got Ethereum at the top of the list at 673, but Ergo at 530, which is not really very tempting, but as a second place option, there's a fallback option. It's significantly more that you're earning there instead of going to Ethereum Classic or going to Ravencoin, right? Like several dollars more. That's unreal, guys. I just didn't think this was going to be the case. Over $5 on Ergo with that Radeon 7. If you don't want to stick with Ethereum, you've got options. It's pretty darn cool. Ozzy Boggin Tech chimes in and says, Seth, Ergo price is up and difficulty is down. But that would do it, right? That would absolutely do it. However, this could also be because now volume filter shows actually that it's at over 5 BTC of daily trading. It fell off of our list a little while ago, but it's back over 5 Bitcoin every single day in daily volume. So that's a really good sign there as well. I mean, really, this is impressive, guys. This is very impressive. Ravencoin volume is also going up. We're at 86 BTC every single day. We were significantly lower than that before. It was like 30 some odd BTC every single day. And yeah, it just a little bit of a shock. A little bit of shock to see how the markets are changing there. Got Andrew Gilbert coming in with a live comment saying, I found your channel same day my hard drives arrived in the mail. But hey, Chia got me here and I've learned a lot. Thanks for the knowledge and content. Hey, I appreciate you saying that, man. I'm glad that it's been valuable enough for you to come by and keep hanging out with us and chatting and answering other people's questions and asking good questions yourselves and trying to learn and grow together and lift each other up. But taking a look at the rest of our profitability here, guys, that's our Vega or our Radeon 7. Let's do the composite of our 5600 XT and our 6800 XT. Again, 60% of the hash rate and 60% of the profit is going to go to the 6000 series card. So we got Ethereum top of the list, 744, Ravencoin at 545, Ergo at $4, about $4 even, Ethereum Classic at 388. So really, this is totally Ethereum's game on this card, and Ergo is not really a contender, it looks like, or these cards. So interesting, the newer architecture is kind of leaning in that direction. Value and efficiency cards, 1060, 1660, 2060, and then 3060 Ti. We'll go that route. Okay, calculate and check to see what our numbers are. Looks like Ethereum is top of the stack, 922. Ravencoin at a distant second, 673. Firo nipping on the heels of Ravencoin at 623. And also shout out Ruben Yap. They're going to be sending over some cool stuff. I may be able to have some other stuff that I can wear during the live streams. They've really appreciated me mentioning them, but haven't been paid by Firo to mention them. You see them right here. They're doing well, so I'm happy for them. But Ergo's not too far behind them either. Pretty darn cool to see that. Pretty darn cool indeed. But Ethereum really hard to beat on Team Green, especially for the value and efficiency cards. It's going to be kind of weird to see what happens over the next little while with EIP 1559 going live inside of the hard fork update. So let's go to our top of the line 1080 Ti, 1660S, 2080 Ti, and 3090 with 50% of the hash rate roughly going to the 3090. So 50% of the profit. 1634. Nice. Now we're not over $17 yet, but in the next 24 to 48 hours, guys, anything can happen. We don't know. It could be that because of the block reward reduction or the fee burn that we see a bunch of miners jump off the network, but then the difficulty goes down. And so we jump back in and wind up seeing the profits are up for us, the small to mid-scale miner. We've seen all kinds of things happen when these kinds of protocol level changes are made or when a lot of hash rate drops off for some of the reasons. So I'm taking a wait and see approach. I don't want to make any kind of prediction as to exactly what will happen here, because you can get really lost in the almost like actuarial level math, right? Like calculus level math, where you say it's definitely going to do this thing. I've drawn these charts and such. And it's sort of like, well, you know, if you did a little bit of basic algebra over here, and then you did a sort of a gut level guess, you'd probably have almost the same odds of being right by doing some more rudimentary math and then just using your best guess. For me right now, I'm just saying I don't even have a very good best guess to figure out exactly what could happen with Ethereum mining profits. I don't think they're going to just like dry up and disappear. I'll say that. I think we're going to be surprised by something that happens in the ecosystem, or some other thing that we can't foresee, like somebody just dropping off the network, a mining farm somewhere just disappearing. We don't know. We got some questions coming to live chat. Maybe Me says, Mind Your Biz, what are the best 380 models for mining? And if you can best prices for used new. Yeah, so I'm not going to go over specific hardware recommendations there as far as where to find, where to buy, best prices, best brand. We might do some kind of a larger spreadsheet where we go over several other items that are relevant to GPU miners and kind of give some recommendations there, but it'll be like a single episode where we don't do that live. But I'm glad you asked. That's a good question. Just don't have a good answer for you right now, so yeah. Sorry, guys. Live chat, though, what do you say? Best RTX 3080 models, what would you recommend for maybe me to take a look at? All right. Help each other out. See what the live chat has for you. Mark Allen is in the house. He says, hello. And Alexander Brody responds, the FTW3 by EVGA, probably. Most of the 3080 run very hot. Bummer. All right, jumping back into some of the live comments. Alexander Brody gives a little bit more insight into Ergo. Says Ergo is high because the price went from $5 to $6.50, and net hash is staying stable around 12.5 terahash. That explains it too. When coin price pumps up really, really fast, that of course has an effect if all other things are equal. So pretty darn cool. Aussie Boggin Tech says, I will stay on ETH and see. Limitless Combo says, I'll stay on ETH. See what happens. Juan Carlos Paulina Fonseca Gomez says, staying on ETH. A lot of people staying on ETH. Yeah. Alexander Brody also says, probably keeping most on ETH, assuming profitability is similar. Otherwise, we'll move to Raven, but need to keep a close eye on NetHash. I agree. I think there's a little bit too much, for my comfort, a little bit too much emphasis and focus on Raven without an equal level of development focus on Raven. And I don't mean that in some to be a backhanded comment towards the core developers or anything. I think they're doing the best that they can. I think there's just not broad interest in developing on top of Raven from other developers. I mean, they've had the token issuance built into the desktop wallet for a while now, right? 2 years now. And with that token issuance, like asset issuance function built into the wallet, you can attach an IPFS hash. So it almost functions like an NFT in a way. It gives you a limited edition run of unique assets, provably unique assets, that then has an IPFS hash. So it can be a PDF, it can be a JPEG, it can be a 3D file, it can be any number of things like a CAD file or an STL file for 3D printing. It can be any number of things that you just upload to IPFS and then associate with that asset inside the Ravencoin wallet. But I don't think people are building on top of that to create like NFT marketplaces or to create like I mentioned before, SolidWorks marketplaces for 3D printing. They could, right? And it'd be tracked on the blockchain, but nobody's doing that. And no third parties seem interested in doing like gem hunting for NFTs that are minted on Ravencoin. There doesn't appear to be a popular appetite for the thing, and there doesn't appear to be a lot of building going on top of the thing. So that's where, for me, I've got a little bit of a concern. But, you know, I don't speak for everybody. That's just my take on it. What do you guys think? As far as falling back to Ravencoin, what are your thoughts? Because a lot of us, I think, are taking the same wait-and-see approach on Ethereum that I talked about, too. All right, so jumping back into our live comments. Whoa, I've missed a lot. Sorry about that, guys. Brad Hardman says the tough gaming 3080s are good, and if your thermal pad The gigabytes are amazing. Sheep55 says EVGA are founders because they aren't subject to tariffs. Nice. EVGA, Gigabyte, Asus coming through from John Clayton as far as recommendations for the RTX 3080. And Ravenboy Crypto says, I recommend anyone, any GPU you can get at MSRP. Man, he just spoke the gospel truth right there. It's so difficult to find graphics cards at MSRP right now that it really almost doesn't matter what you get. If there's any kind of a warranty that's intact and you get it at a reasonable price, like, knock yourself out. I think that's the most like down to earth advice we've gotten so far. The other brands are great. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's speaking from experience and giving, I think, really good feedback there. But it's also true that we're still getting gouged. Sometimes, at least, we're still getting gouged when we go to like eBay or Facebook Marketplace, wherever else. And let's see. Yeah, Brand Central also, he said, I recommend whatever you can actually get. Mark Allen asks, I'm running into a serious issue finding hosting for my miner. Anyone have ideas on where to host an ASIC miner? Great question, guys. Let's go ahead and throw that to the live chat again, where we can get really good hosting for him. And I think probably small or mid-scale hosting for him. What I'll say is that some of the larger companies that get really, really great rates on power that they have negotiated, but it's very easy to get locked into a contract with fine print that maybe you either didn't read or was framed in such a way that it was hard to understand. So you're locked into certain expectations, right? Like, you won't ever be permitted to go on site to take a look at your rig again. You'll ship it to them. They'll set it up as best they can. If something breaks, it's your fault or it's at your cost. If you want remote access, it has to be done in a very specific way. If there's downtime and they have to go and toggle a switch for you, there's a fee, right? There's all kinds of stuff that applies to these other larger facilities where it looks really good on paper that you're getting 5-cent power, but maybe you're not really getting it at the end of the day. So I'd look for something as local as you can find it. Personally, again, that's just my take on it. Go as local as you can and try to get to know people really well who operate the place, and try to get permission if you have enough rigs to take up your own little corner. Get permission to go on site, and at least at specific times or hours, if you can, be able to go and take a look at your rigs physically, like work on your rigs if needed. Be a lot easier than paying them for everything, because then you get like nickeled and dimed, right? Like, oh, hey, my rig went offline. Well, they happen to throw it on a 110 volt circuit, right? And they didn't tell you, right? It's on a 110 volt circuit, or they put it on some other, like in some configuration where it doesn't have very good airflow or whatever. And all you can do is twiddle your thumbs and look at your online dashboard and say, well, that rig is just always struggling. I don't know why. And then they don't let you go and fix these problems, and they charge you when they want to go fix the problems, right? Or when you tell them that you want them to fix it for you. So it can be very difficult working with co-location. Like it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? With co-location, it can offer a really cheap price, but there's a reason that it's a better fit for really large operations, and not so much for us, the small to mid-scale miner. Anyway, throwing that out there. You'll get some other feedback in the comments as well. Getting some more feedback on different brands for that RTX 3080. And Mark Allen says looks like he mentions he mentions a company name, says they'll only host what they sell. I'm waiting to hear back from them. No, I want to say that you can bring your own miners to that company, but again, I mentioned some pain points, not specific to them, but kind of in general for different mining co-location operators. John Clayton is saying 8 cents per kilowatt hour is good. And we got Nicolas Borba in the house. Hello, welcome. Alexander saying mining is a lot more expensive than just the power costs. LOL. Space, maintenance, and cooling. Totally true. And Bojan says, what's up? Good to see you in the comments. All right, that is our top of the line GPUs. Ethereum, Ravencoin, Firo, and Ergo are really high on the list. Again, Firo is there, but not really as much profit as Ravencoin, and definitely not as much profit as Ethereum. None of this is really a shock, right, guys? Ethereum, when it's profitable enough to be mineable on GPUs, recently it tends to be the thing to mine. So we're all kind of waiting here with bated breath while the network upgrades to London hard fork. hopefully things turn out okay on the other side. We're kind of going through a dark tunnel right now. Let's take a look at the cost to mine one full Bitcoin. Let's go to our, put in our go-to mining model, the Antminer S9, and go all the way up to 14 cent power. Looks like our break-even point is 16.4 cent power, and we're still at slightly elevated prices, even at 14 cent power, where it used to cost about $32,500 US dollars to mine one full Bitcoin. Now we're at 34,000, roughly 34,000 US dollars to mine one full Bitcoin with the Antminer S9, unoptimized anyway, at 13.5 terahash per second. Not great. So again, doing the power cost game at 8 cents per kilowatt hour, you are under $20,000 acquisition price for one full Bitcoin. That's where it starts to get attractive. And I think you guys have heard me say it on the show before. This is a price you can actually obtain in your state without necessarily having to go to a co-location facility. You can find this. I promise you can if you know how to scour. If you need help, and this is not me soliciting for business, guys, if you need help with this and you are a mid-scale operation, just letting you know, I do consulting. Just for the record, I do consulting there. But here's a breadcrumb for everybody who's just like dealing with their own small to mid-scale mining operation. Start by figuring out where there's available power, lots of power. And if you start there, you'll then be able to figure out where that power is cheap. There's your hack, guys. But 8 cents per kilowatt hour, and that puts you in range of something you actually can deal with. Raven Boy Crypto asks, Seth, if things go bad with the London hard fork, are you planning an emergency video or something with your thoughts? I might. I just might. Here's the thing. They're going to be doing so much damage control. It's going to be all over Twitter. It's going to be all over Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and YouTube. And Son of a Tech will do a video, and it'll be like, his will draw everybody in from the community. And then I'll go live or whatever. And everyone's going to be like, pretty sure that Son already got it. Like, whatever. Thanks. Appreciate ya. I'm going to go watch an episode, a rerun of Friends. Bye now. But maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. But going over to our alternate model, the MicroBT M20S. This is a more efficient GP or ASIC. You notice again at 8 cent power, now you're mining one full Bitcoin at about 11,100 US dollars. Makes a lot more sense. So much more sense. Let's see. Ooh. Yeah. Oh man. I'm seeing a comment come in that I have to amplify here. I'm not gonna mention the company name. If you're rereading the live comments, you'll figure out what it is. Because I don't give free press. I give free publicity to companies that I haven't vetted. So I don't want to do that. Brad Hardman says, don't go with this company. You cannot get a better deal than access 100% of the time and live feeds into the facility 24/7 and professional crew on site and around the clock with this other place. Never had downtime. Yeah, access 100% of the time is a pretty big deal. Security when it comes to the facility where they're hosting your miners is also a pretty big deal to them. So considering what their business model is, if everybody just said you serviced small scale miners, and you had 500 small scale miners that all only gave you 3 rigs. So you got roughly 1,500 rigs in a facility. They couldn't let all 500 people just show up willy-nilly. Stuff would get stolen, stuff would get broken, stuff would get sabotaged, stuff would get defaced. There'd be little tiny little drawings of eggplants and whatever, stick and twigs or twig and berries rather, just not good, right? Frank and beans written on everybody else's mining rigs. I mean, let's be real. We all know that guy that would do that to somebody else's mining rigs, right? That would just happen. We know it. So if they have this large scale facility and they let a bunch of people put their mining rigs in there, they can't give them 100% access all the time, right? That's just it's just the reality. You can't. It's like a shared locker room at work or whatever. You have to put a lock on your stuff, otherwise your stuff goes walking away. So there's a little bit of an issue there. However, if you can source your own warehouse, if you can go in on a warehouse with somebody else after you've found the correct rate for power, then it kind of makes sense that you can maybe diversify into maybe 10 people that are in your circle of friends or in your sphere of influence who and then you're not taking that massive risk of one person taking off with everything. And as was mentioned in the comments, you can set up cameras and stuff, right? Like that's where some of these like remote access cameras make sense. And you can set like office hours or whatever, let somebody know, hey, if you need to do a repair run or whatever, then we're going to be here on, whatever day of the week. Like we're going to be on Wednesday nights at this time. We're going to be here on Thursday nights at this time. We're going to be here on Saturday in the morning at this time. So whatever you need, show up at that time. So there are ways for you to do that between friends that makes it way more comfortable, way higher trim, much more easy to deal with and cost effective too. So Greg says, I'm wiped out, everyone. I need to rest now. Keep on keeping on. Keep keeping on. Hope I see you all on Seth's next stream. Laters. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by with us. So some goblin loser asks, so apparently oh yeah, he's talking about this thing. Oh dang. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. He's talking about it. Man, we're gonna have to look it up. We might have to look it up. So some goblin loser says, apparently you poop. The poop gets converted into methane to create electricity. The person gets rewarded in cryptocurrency. It's literally a poop coin. It's true. There's some really cool stuff there. And this is the next frontier in green energy recapture. I know it sounds like kind of foul or whatever, but if you live on a property that's already dealing with a septic system anyway, really, like, your facilities are not all that much more clean or all that much better than what this system does anyway. It's really like a septic system that has a proper separation tank underneath that separates methane from everything that would normally go into the septic system. So without getting like into gross detail or whatever, it's like a septic system that gives you free electricity after the fact. It's kind of cool. Like I'm really looking into this and thinking there are some, like, my in-laws, they live at a property that the city, it's an old enough city or in an old enough town that they have basically said, we're not going to run any new sewer systems to this side of town, this side of town, this side of town, that side of town, because they don't want to do any more development. It's one of those, right? Slow growth city plan. And so all of their neighbors are on septic systems, and for miles and miles around, they're all on septic systems. And this is kind of a nice area of Southern California, but you wouldn't expect it. So in some of these areas where it's like, dang, you got tens of thousands of people in this little area that are using septic systems. Like, they're literally waiting for all this stuff to decompose anyway. Why not turn it into a methane recapture system where you can then generate electricity on site? Once you get past the initial, like, ew, poop factor, it's like, oh no, that's kind of cool. I mean, everybody poops anyway, right? Like, don't make it so weird. Obviously, everybody poops. So get past all that, the squeamishness, right? Like, really, are we not men? Or if you're watching a woman, like, are we not strong individuals, right? We can have the intestinal fortitude to just like deal with that and say, all right, how do we make something really great out of poop? Like, how do we turn poop to gold? Anyway, yeah, some goblin loser says it's a South Korean project and I'm excited. I'm with you, man. That's a pretty amazing thing, because it's not like poop is ever going away. It's not like septic systems or toilets and all that stuff, like all that side of life. It's never going away. And once it does, you're in serious trouble, because that means the end is near, right? Like, it's never going away. You want to have to deal with this stuff for a long, long time. So anyway, Crypto Bedell mentions, in the country, septic company takes your septic and converts it into fertilizer on the cornfield for the cornfields. Yep, we call it humanure, right? And you can do composting systems at home too. So you create your own humanure if you are into that. There are some places that are so green that almost nothing goes to waste. And it takes a lot more. Like cooking, so to speak, because of the human diet, or the omnivore diet. Same is true for like your dog, right? Like your domesticated animals. You could never turn good. You can never get good manure out of domesticated animals, right? Pets, because of what they eat. It's bad, unless you treat it correctly, and then it can be turned into some kind of a fertilizer, like you're saying. The same is true of the separation into some of the components and the methane gas that can then be used for electricity. So anyway, without going like too scientific or too far down that path, there's so many great ways to generate power on site. I mean, back in the day, Guys, I've got some really great stuff that I want to talk about here, but I don't want to make it weird because I haven't vetted all of our live viewers, so I don't want to give away too much alpha. We got to do a newsletter where we just talk about just green tech and energy recapture systems and ways that we can improve, make a penny squeal, right? Bring our cost per kilowatt hour down just a little bit more if you live on your own homestead or you live on your own property or whatever, and you have the rights to do this at home. There might be some really good things we can talk about as far as energy recapture, but I don't want to freestyle that one too much here. I think that'd be a problem later on because then we let the cat out of the bag. But anyway, so our cost to mine one full Bitcoin on the MicroBT WhatsMiner M20S at 8-cent power, just over $11,000. Far more attractive, makes way more sense. And even at 14 cents per kilowatt hour, it's roughly the same as it would be on the S9 at 8 cents per kilowatt hour power. So you guys keep hearing me. You guys keep hearing me saying it. Wow, I had to think through that one. Grammatically, it got away from me for a minute there. But I didn't stare directly at the sun, but I was out in the bright sun a lot today. So just a little bit tired, dehydrated. I'm also making excuses. I made a mistake. It was hard to think through the way to say that. But you get what I'm saying. This hardware profile, if you're mining Bitcoin, makes a lot more sense. You're far more efficient. It makes way more sense for you. You're going to earn a lot more. You're going to earn a lot faster, and you're going to get much better resale value on that equipment. So if you're dealing with Antminer S9s, think about what you're going to do to either move through them or relocate them to even cheaper power. Jumping back into the comments section, guys, I know that big tangent on on-site power generation and cogeneration kind of it put us on a big tangent, but let's see what other comments we've gotten in so far. We've got, some Goblin Loser I don't know says, you get rewarded to poop and you're creating green energy. I know, right? It's amazing. It's amazing. You're just doing your thing, living your best life, pooping, and making the world a better place. DMAG says, need cow dung mostly. Yeah, for fertilizer. Absolutely. Yeah, for fertilizer, there's no, that's why steer manure is so valued, right? So prized. That, and then guano. Several avian species, just like the chemical composition of guano is far more potent to fertilizer. I want to say it's just higher in, is it potassium, right, than some others. So yeah, crazy stuff. But that's a whole different science, guys. I don't pretend to know a lot about it. I just done a little bit of casual reading. So I think it's fascinating. Anyway, cost of mine one Bitcoin, it's still possible. You can still do this. Let's take a look at our mining pool stats. Check to see what the current state of Bitcoin mining is. The network hash rate for Bitcoin has gone down since the last time we checked. It was at 117 several days ago, dipped down to about 101 exahash just a couple days ago, and then also now dipped even further, another exahash down to this point. I'm curious to see what the Bitcoin SV. The Bitcoin SV net hash is less than 1 exahash. Yikes. And the Bitcoin Cash hash rate is only at over an exahash. Let's go ahead and refine this, only to be SHA 256, so we get those at the very top of the list. And it is in that order, right? It's roughly in that order. Bitcoin Cash is number 2 behind Bitcoin, but it's at only about, now, just over 1% of the total net hash, and Bitcoin SV is only half of that. It's, in my estimation, it's not going to be a super long time before we see yet another 51% attempt on Bitcoin SV. And it's not me encouraging anybody else to do it. It's not me calling for any kind of community action or me saying that I think it's appropriate. It's inappropriate. I shouldn't have laughed earlier on. It's very, very mean, very, very sad what happened to Bitcoin SV. But my point is that if there are people out there who are willing to do this sort of thing, they were just encouraged, right? They saw that it worked. So it's likely that it's going to happen again. The same thing happened with Ethereum Classic not long ago. After the first 51% attack was confirmed successful on Ethereum Classic, another one was planned and executed flawlessly. So there's a bit of an issue once third parties know that they can attack you on that level. They will attack you on that level repeatedly. And Bojan Toprek says, did anyone hear anything from Roger from Bcash? I mean, is he alive? So I interviewed Roger Ver last year, and he seemed alive to me. He's living his best life. Really, dude is just happy as a clam over in Japan, and does his Brazilian jiu-jitsu training, or does jiu-jitsu training. He might be studying Japanese jiu-jitsu, maybe not Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but does his jiu-jitsu training still, rolls multiple times a week, very active socially, still advocates for the use of cryptocurrency out in marketplaces. And yes, he's very strongly aligned with Bitcoin Cash. But my impression of the guy is that he's just really laid back. Seriously, he's the sort of person, if you met in person, and if you had the kind of life experience when it comes to like business and when it comes to entrepreneurship, that where you want to meet people like this. He's the sort of person that I think you'd meet and just think like, yeah, he's kind of cool. Like I wouldn't mind going to lunch with this guy or whatever, like going out. Like, he's a fun, well-rounded person. That's my impression of him personally. I think he's all right, but I think he's just out of the promoting game because there's not a lot of upside with the whole Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Cash war. And really, he gets a lot of abuse from people, I think, maybe needlessly, because he chose to go the route of Bitcoin Cash. To be clear, he didn't start Bitcoin Cash. Roger Ver became an advocate for Bitcoin Cash after he discovered that they were going that direction. But he's not actually a developer, and he didn't actually do anything that went that direction. So anyway, in defense of Roger Ver, seems like a cool dude on his own. I think he's mistaken about Bitcoin Cash, right, being the true Bitcoin. I think he's not mistaken about it being a better peer-to-peer experience right now. But no one's perfect. That's the thing. Like, nobody is. So what am I saying? Leave Roger Ver alone. I'm not really saying that. You can make fun of whoever you want to make fun of, but I won't join in on that with Roger Ver. The one meeting that I had with him, he won me over. He's a cool guy. Anyway, that's my little rant, and it's over. Go to our GPU mining portfolio. Ethereum is at the top of the list at over $1,100. Good to see that. Matic, Aave, interest-bearing wrapped ETH is over $1,000 as well. And now Ren BTC and Wrapped Bitcoin are coming in just behind them. Remember that Ren BTC is a slightly less centralized version of Wrapped Bitcoin. It is a type of representation of Bitcoin on Ethereum, but it's a little bit less centralized as I understand it. We need to do some smart contract a sneak peek of the smart contracts to see what the permissions are that have been given to both the admin key holder of Ren BTC versus the admin key holder of WBTC, Wrapped Bitcoin. But as I understand it, Ren BTC is less centralized, which is kind of cool. And more permissionless in terms of people just sending Bitcoin, having it locked up in a smart contract, and then having it live on Ethereum. That's my understanding of Ren Bitcoin, is that it's a little bit less centralized and a lot more permissionless. Ravencoin very high on the list as well, but not over $1,000. However, it is growing towards it. Ethereum Classic still struggling to get stay over the $800 mark. And then Conceal is still kind of doing its thing here at the middle of the pack. Same with Etho Protocol, Polygon, several of the others you see here as well. Firo also struggling to keep its price very high, but they are. I have it through the grapevine. Ruben Yap, he DM'd me the other day and said that Firo is going to make the change. They've been talking about it for about a year, better part of a year and a half. They're definitely doing it now, moving to Prog POW, or a variant of Prog POW instead of Merkle Tree proofs, so that much like Zano, they have their own version of it, right? Zano has Prog POW Z. Firo may have its own unique implementation. Ravencoin has its own unique implementation, right? Ka POW. And Firo is going to join the ranks of these GPU mining elite that are using Prog POW, so it's less likely to see an ASIC developed for them. Bottom of the stack is still Haven. However, it's still over $4 as well. Even though we've seen some weird price action and fluctuations, it's still over $4, maintaining positive price action over the last 7 days, right? Fairly strong recovery. And frankly, I still think it's probably undervalued. The fact that it dipped so much, there may still be opportunity there. Not financial advice, not investing advice, just saying they're making an effort. So they might be able to recover. We'll see over the next several days. Or I guess really it's going to be several months. Don't expect for that to be a fast turnaround, a fast play. hard drive mining coins. MadeSafe coin dipping consistently for 7 days. That downward channel looks really rough, but possibly we're going to see some recovery in the near future. And in the meantime, it's still the highest performing asset in this side of the portfolio. Total portfolio change over the last 24 hours is 0.5% up, but in total, we're also 12% down since we started it. MadeSafe coin is carrying the portfolio. Chia coin is dragging it down still, even with that 20% boost over the last 7 days. Chia just does not seem to want to really recover. It's just not quite doing its thing yet. However, it is maintaining a price above $200, so that offers some hope for people who are bag holders right now. Again, if that describes you, then I'm sorry. Really, I'm sorry. It's a bummer, but hopefully there'll be some relief soon. And if you need to unload or average out of your bags, then maybe that opportunity is coming sooner than you think. Maybe we see it as the entire market goes up. And maybe we don't see that until after summer, though, guys. Maybe it's a slow recovery in the month of August and into September, and then maybe we see the last leg up for this bull market, similar to how 2017 went. I mean, again, maybe we don't. Maybe we turn down, we break downward. I'm not making a prediction here, just saying, if it does break out to the upside, then maybe Chia goes back up. And those who are holding bags right now, maybe you're giving your shot to average out or to find some really good exit points and take your profits then. But my strong, and I will say this isn't advice or whatever, my strong gut feeling is that if you are holding a Chia bag right now, you need to look for those opportunities. And you need to protect your investments, right? Like if you bought hardware, you got to protect yourself. So look for those opportunities to take profits if you think it's worth it this year. Or if you think you're just going to hold on to the hardware for the next 2 years and you're going to amortize it and write it off for your taxes anyway, if that fits a situation where you can do that, then maybe you don't care. But in that case, you don't care what the price is anyway, or you say you don't. So why are you listening to me? Anyway, that's our hard drive mining portfolio. Let me jump back to our GPU mining portfolio to take a look at our profit and loss over 24 hours. And P&L for 24 hours, positive 3%. But since we started the portfolio, negative 25%. Down to CPU mineable coins. CPU mineable coins. Raptorium still high on the list, but over 7 days, losing quite a bit of value, 14% down. Varus coin now finally at the bottom of the stack. It took some time for there to be kind of a flipping there, but it looks like we're finally there. Down by, almost 5 percentage points more than Wownero, but Varus coin has had what I thought was weird interference in the trading. We see this downward channel that looks a little bit more organic than some of the weird formations that we saw in weeks past, which I've been told is some kind of a staking attack. And yeah, it's just not doing awesome. Some goblin loser is getting pretty excited to see this upward formation. Some might call it a green candle. He's very excited, and I'm excited too. That's amazing. That upward movement does not look real. What's going on there? Well, we got to take a look at that in just a second here. But Monero still in second place. It's still below $250 per coin, but that's pretty awesome. That almost puts us back at the price that we acquired it at. Only Raptorium is doing better than the day that we put it into the portfolio, but Varus coin is now below the 50% down mark. So that's a real bummer right there. But let's take a look at that Monero price really quickly, just so we can see it. Some goblin loser says that seems like a meme candle. I agree with you. It does seem like a meme. Doesn't seem quite right. Maybe it isn't right, but let's jump back out of 24 hours and go to 7 day. Yeah, no, that's about right. So we're looking at over the last 24 hours or so, going from 224 all the way up to 248. It really did perform that way. However, it's really just kind of jumping back into the channel where bottom support, it dipped below something like a $230 or a $235 support, like average support line there. If we just drew a line through there. So maybe this is the outlier down here, making that look like more of a meme candle going up. Maybe there's something that I'm just not aware of that is affecting that price, that the dip right there was affected. And it could well be that the news about Fluffy Pony is what caused that. Kind of unfair, I think, because Fluffy Pony is not the maintainer of Monero. Fluffy Pony doesn't even have admin keys to approve pull requests anymore. for Monero. There's nothing that Fluffy Pony controls that would give anybody some kind of like an unfair advantage or unfair access to the Monero code base. And beyond that, as mentioned in our live stream, the code base is open source. People can just fork it if they want to. They can take a look at it as closely as they want to. Nothing is hidden about the source code itself. But the code itself is designed to hide a lot of the transactions on the network that's running. Right? But the code itself, it's out in the clear. It's out in the open. They're not keeping a secret from anybody. So maybe everybody else got that memo where it's like, oh yeah, right. Oh no. Like Fluffy Pony was arrested. Oh no. Oh right. He doesn't have any keys. Yep. Business as usual. Coming back up. That's what I read there is a news cycle that was a little bit strained at this point right here, and then people kind of getting their marbles back and realizing, oh yeah, we're okay. Boom. Price right back up. Veriscoin, on the other hand, this looks like an organic channel that's heading down with weird spikes there. Again, we saw those kinds of spikes in their chart in weeks past that just didn't seem right. And again, the Veriscoin team, if anybody from the Veriscoin team is watching or from the community is watching, this is not me picking on the Veriscoin project. I disagree with some of the primitives of the project goals and the project vision, but that doesn't mean that I want to see it fail. And it doesn't mean that I don't respect the hard work of the team that they're putting into it right now. But the trading volume and the charts from weeks past looked like they were being manipulated. That was true. So this is not me accusing the core developer team of doing that. And in talking to some people in the community, that was kind of affirmed to me behind the scenes that it probably wasn't the developer team, but there may have been somebody else who just thought they were doing them a favor or something and manipulating the price and kind of pumping it and making it look weird. This, I think, is probably good for it to seek its organically do some discovery of its own bottom support for Veriscoin, especially if we're looking at a potential additional leg up in the markets later on this year. It'd be very good for Veriscoin to know where its organic resting bottom support is before that run up happens, instead of seeing it artificially propped up by some kind of weird interference, staking attacks, or wash trading. So this is, I think, probably a good thing for Veris. I think they're going to be fine. The developer team hasn't stopped. Their market cap is strong. And I think that for people who are CPU mining, I think that Veriscoin is still profitable too. But let me know in the comment section if you are a CPU miner and if you're mining Veriscoin, or if you're mining Veris on an FPGA. Let me know. Are profits still good enough? Are you still interested in it? But that's our CPU mining portfolio in a nutshell. Looking at our ASIC mining portfolio, guys, we got Bitcoin at the top of the list at an even $1,000 plus 720, which is pretty cool. Decred is behind it in second place again. These guys just keep on flipping each other back and forth. Pirate Chain definitely looks like it's up over the last 7 days by a tiny bit. Little pump there for Pirate Chain, putting it ahead of Zcash from the time that we made this portfolio. But Zcash, after making the news, I think has definitely grown in popularity. Guys, I made no secret about my feelings or my thoughts towards Zcash yesterday in my video. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's on the channel. And I do a little bit of a deep dive into Zcash and why I think it's a huge mistake for Zcash to go proof of stake. I don't think it's going to work out well for them. I don't think it's going to work out well for the users at all. I think it's going to be a huge problem. But that doesn't stop traders from being interested in coins like Zcash on paper, right? Where they say, "Oh, it's a privacy coin. Well, I'm going to do a trading pair, Bitcoin and Zcash," and they don't care. It seems apparent to me also, without accusing any of the leadership team of anything inappropriate, it just seems apparent that a lot of the volume it's not transparent, first off, which is weird, considering that the network transactions themselves on Zcash are transparent because so little of the network actually uses shielded transactions. But the exchange volume is kind of hard to read because people who do data analysis for it are in some cases relying on the APIs for exchanges instead of looking at the chain. Weird, just weird. And it reeks of wash trading. Full stop. Just looks like there's somebody out there, maybe not the project leadership, but there's somebody out there saying like, you know what? I need Zcash to pump. All right, pump, dump, wash the trades, back and forth. Whose Bitcoin is that? Mine. Whose Zcash is that? Mine. Am I growing the bag? Maybe. I don't know. Just rinse it back and forth. Just not awesome. But that's the reality of cryptocurrencies because they're not regulated in that way. Anybody can do it. But it's annoying for those of us who are looking on and thinking, wow, maybe that coin is going to moon. But if it's fake, right, and if the volume isn't going to you, right, if they won't actually, the market depth, if they won't sell to you, then it doesn't matter what the coin price is, and it doesn't matter what the volume is, right? Like, if you can't buy and you can't sell, then that's all fake. I don't know that that's definitely the case for Zcash, but after the deep dive yesterday, I'm a little more convinced that it could be, that there's not as much depth as we think. So kind of weird to see it so high up on the list. I wouldn't be mining Zcash if I had an Equihash miner. I'd be looking a lot more at the Pirate Chain. Been a consistently good performer for a while now. And then Dogecoin, finally in its rightful place at the very bottom of the stack. There, I said it. It's right. It's a dog pile. It deserves to be on the bottom of the dog pile, as you expect for Dogecoin. And that's pretty much our ASIC mineable portfolio in a nutshell. Other than that, I guess Litecoin is not joining Dogecoin at the bottom of the list, which is some redeeming quality there because you can merge mine the two of them at the same time. But that's our ASIC mineable portfolio there. Let me jump into the comment section and get caught up here, guys. We got Bojan asking a question about UBQ. And I don't have strong opinions formed about UBIC. I haven't looked very closely at what they intend to do. I understand that it's an EVM compatible chain, so very similar to Ethereum, but I haven't looked closely at UBIC. Maybe we can take a look at that tonight on the show. So appreciate that. And then some Goblin Loser saying, holy crap, Monero. Seems like a meme candle. Does it have support, though, is a thing? I think it does. Again, jumping back to Monero, I think that it probably does. It's been at above that price before this year and not that long ago. So I think it probably has support. Without looking at volume, I think it probably does. And then he asks, off topic, but are the 3DFX Voodoo boards FPGA boards? I don't know. I haven't heard of that one. And then Radcow asks, what do you think of proof of stake? It depends on what you're referring to. Proof of stake for Ethereum, I think is probably a bad idea. But proof of stake for Zcash is definitely a bad idea. Almost definitely. I just don't think that there's enough to justify it going to proof of stake. Like I mentioned in the video yesterday, a lot of the trading volume is not transparent. A lot of the network volume is transparent. It's not private. There's some problems with having this network operate in a proof of stake model now. Oh, and I failed to mention in that video as well, Zuko Wilcox, there's a founder's reward of 20% for every single block. It goes to Zuko. So he'll be one of the largest whale stakers in that environment too, where he has this massive bag of Zcash. And so, of course, he's going to get a significant portion of the block reward just based on the stake, but he'll also get 20% of the block reward because of the founder's reward, right? He's going to be stacking on top of each other rewards. The whole network, Zcash, was making Zuko rich, like at the peak of the profitability for Zcash with block rewards going to him. At the very peak, he was earning $300,000 US, the equivalent, $300,000 US every single month by having pressed fork and then added the ZK snarks. And I don't want to trivialize the amount of work that was done there. There was a lot of work. That's true. But Zuko Wilcox, the founder of Zcash and the Electric Coin Company, he's benefited a whole lot from the existence of that coin. And whatever, like I'm not going to be a player hitter. He's put himself in a position that's rewarding to him, financially rewarding to him. But when it comes to proof of stake, it also sets him up to be the person who controls consensus to a large degree. And that for me is like, okay, it's one thing for you to sort of to have a say in the direction of development, but another thing for you to have such heavy voting rights when it comes to consensus. You can roll back the chain if you want to, but worse, if I'm Uncle Sam and I don't like the way things are running, let me grab a wrench here, right? Or I'll grab these flyers, right? It's like, hey, you don't need all those teeth, do you, Zuko? My name is the government and I want you to change things. Okay, hold on. There's your molar. You gonna change things? No? See what I mean? It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. Like, I'm not even being very imaginative about the thing. You can imagine it too, right? If a third party knows that you can have a controlling stake in a proof of stake network, you're the weakest link. That's simple. It really is. Like there's nothing more you need to know about the game theory. People who say like, oh no, there's 51% attack resistance in proof of stake networks. Well, fine, maybe it's not exactly 51% because there are some that require 60%. So if you have like massive whales and you have exchanges that hold 60% of the coin supply, well then you know who they are. What's stopping you from putting them on a list and saying, yeah, we are world government X, and we really need you to do this because of really important sounding reason why. I wouldn't put it past a lot of the world governments to behave that way when it comes to a proof of stake network. Now, when it comes to Ethereum, it might be a bit more decentralized. It might be decentralized enough in terms of the various number of wallets that maybe that's not as big a problem. However, when it comes to the original founders rewards, right, the dev rewards for Ethereum during the initial pre-mine, maybe not. It could be that Ethereum has the same problem moving to proof of stake. I haven't looked at it enough to know for sure, but yeah, that'd be a huge threat vector if like the Canadian government or the Ukraine government reached out to Vitalik Buterin and just said like, hey, we're just going to ask you nicely. We're nice people. You're nice people. Give us control. It doesn't seem likely that he would do it. And he's a really sharp guy. He's a smart guy. But Vitalik and other founders, I mean, good grief, Charles Hoskinson, the guy who runs Cardano, and Gavin Wood, right, of Polkadot. You've got these other people who were originally part of the Ethereum ICO, right? When it first launched, the Ethereum project, these are the original founders. A lot of them still have tons of Ethereum. I mean, like they're some of the biggest whales in the Ethereum world. And so how ironic would it be if the leader of the Polkadot ecosystem and the leader of the Cardano ecosystem, because of proof of stake, were basically in charge of consensus for Ethereum? See where I'm going? It's a huge problem. Huge problem, especially if now we know like 3 people, right? Just off the top of our heads, these 3 people, if you went and squeezed them to say like, all right, cool, I've got this car battery, I'm going to hook it up to like, here, give me your tongue. Bah! Like you get really nasty with them, right? And just threaten them somehow. If you know it's just these 3 people to help you control the network, like that's not security. Proof of work is security. All of us mining in various different locations around the world. I mean, if I stop mining today, Ethereum lives on. If you stop mining today, Ethereum lives on. If the giant facility in New York that has 120,000 GPUs in it stops mining Ethereum today, we would notice, but Ethereum lives on, right? Like proof of work is so much more fault tolerant. It's so much more resistant to aggressors. Because taking that same example, if my local government comes up to me and says, Seth, we don't like that you're mining Ethereum and we want you to mine for us. Okay, well, do you want me to mine for free? Someone's got to pay the power bill. So we're going to have to at least liquidate that amount of Ethereum to pay the power bill, right? Like they could threaten me with violence all they want, but if nobody pays the power bill, I stop mining. That's just like, those are the realities. And the same is true for you, right? If your local government just said, for whatever reason, they just decided like, we hate Ethereum and we don't like you very much either. So they go to your house. They're like, all right, where are the miners? Show us where the miners are. All right. They can make you turn them off. But again, the network is resilient to that. With proof of stake, if they do that same thing, let's just say, like, take a different example. Maybe not the people I mentioned before, but you and me. Maybe we're big to-dos in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? We got so much Ethereum and the government knows it. They come to my house now, that same example, and it's like, you know what? We need those private keys. Give them to us. You don't want to? Okay. Go to solitary confinement. See how you like the inside of a jail cell for the next 3 months. We'll talk to you then. 3 months later, hey, how about those private keys? You want to give those to us now? See? Doesn't take long. And it cost them nothing. Nothing. Not like proof of work. For proof of work, if they want to get that same level of control over the network, they got to pay for it. It's just that simple. So anyway, it is a feature, guys. Proof of work is a feature. It's not a bug. It's not polluting the environment, and it's not worth less than the value being created by the coins. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and that's why we have this show, guys. And that's why I think it matters that we frame it from a miner's perspective. But that's our ASIC portfolio, guys. 24-hour change again, 1.3% up. down overall by 22.7%. FPGA mining portfolio. Top of the list is still Nimic, doing really, really well. Rather, doing over $700 out of the 1,000 that we put in. And the lowest performer is still 0x Bitcoin with massive volatility, massive swings there in the value. So with almost $4 million worth of market cap and a coin price of 50 cents. Dang, man, I should hold on to mine from back in the day. Yeah, I mined some 0x Bitcoin. What about it? So looking at that chart, though, I'm really, really curious. For 0x Bitcoin, come on. You can do it. Wow, look at those jumps. 51 down to 47. Okay, it's not as big as I thought, but still a 6% jump. 6% jump in minutes is nothing to sneeze at. That's crazy. So there's got to be some kind of mechanic within the smart contract that's contributing to that I'm not aware of inside of 0x Bitcoin. Let's take a look at 7 days, though. Yeah, look at those spikes. Lowest value there, 45 cents, back up to 50 cents. Man. You could swing trade the crap out of this thing. Seriously, this is like a money-making machine. If there's not a massive penalty for trading this thing, then with the right size bag on with the right size bag, you just sit there, buy, sell, buy, sell. I mean, it's like clockwork, right? Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, boom. Right up and down in that range, right? Like that roughly 6 to 10% swing. That's crazy, guys. Isn't that crazy? I almost want to try it. Like, it looks kind of tempting to see if you can actually make, gosh, every single day. Let's go back to that 24-hour, okay? 24-hour chart here. How many swings do we have? We have buy, sell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe not even, like, we could say 10 times a day. But during the waking hours, that's like 4 swings you could trade there. Right? Guys, am I crazy here? Are you seeing that too? That's like 3 or 4 swings you could trade every single day at about a profit margin if you're doing, let's be conservative, right? Say about 10% of the uptrend you can actually capture because of fees or whatever else. You can only get about half of what it actually offers. So if it's between 6 to 10%, right? Let's just say it's that you're only doing 3 to 5% every trade, right? 3 to 5% compounded across 3 or 4 trades daily, right? Am I right? Dude, you guys are seeing it? Real News 2020 says it's tempting. Says it looks like the Wax X chart. And I agree with you. It is kind of tempting. I'm curious about that now. I mean, this isn't what we do on this show, but looking at that chart, it makes me think there's opportunity, guys. If you do it, by all means, report back to us and tell us how awesome it was or how painful it was. Either way, it'd be super cool to know. But that's 0x Bitcoin, man. Yeah, that's like that kind of volatility. It looks like clockwork. That's money. That's just money, right? It's just like massive oscillation. Boop, 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 up and down. Just right back and forth. That's cool. But then it's kind of like a general trend over the last hour, down quite a bit. But yeah, again, that's 6%. Let me refresh the page right now. 6% down. Nah, it's just not refreshing very, very fast. I kind of want to take a closer look at 0x Bitcoin, guys. I didn't think I was going to want to do that, but now knowing there's enough volume or enough market cap in it to possibly make that work, I'm really, really curious. We're going to see what we can do here, guys. I got to check to see the 0x Bitcoin ecosystem. And I mean, I realized I just gave it away to somebody in the audience who's like, ooh, that does look cool. I'm going to try it too. I don't care, man. I think there's probably enough room for us to both take a look at that and be like, and be like very respectful of the ecosystem, but participate here. That looks cool. Very cool. Handshake taking a bit of a dip the last 24 hours and the downward trend, but that's got to be due to a news cycle as well that's relevant to Handshake. Being in the namespace area of Bitcoin, there's any number of things that for them could affect them. The fact that Fluffy Pony is right now under arrest and being detained by the U.S. Marshals, that may affect Handshake because, not directly, but indirectly because of Yats, right? The Yat project that he's the leader of, he's the CEO of. So could be there's an issue there. Cadena also doing its trading across its own chart right there, guys. No two charts here are alike. That is something you got to say for these FPGA mineable coins, is that they're kind of like, some of them are micro caps And then some of them are mid caps. Like 0x is still kind of a micro cap, but then the rest of these are just mid caps. And they really are marching to the beat of their own drum. This does not resemble Bitcoin, not directly. Pretty darn cool to see that. So these are totally unique in that way. However, the entire portfolio is down by 42%. The last 24 hours have been good by bringing it up by almost 3.5%, but very, very interesting to see how the FPGA coins have done. All right, that's the last of our portfolio there, guys. And I think got a request in the comments here to take a closer look at one of the coins, Ubik. There we go. It was Ubik. Thank you again, Bojan. Let's take a look at Ubik really, really fast. We're over here at 0x. I'm going to take a closer look at Ubik. Okay. 901. Number 901 in the stacked ranking. It's up to 24 cents per coin right now. Circulating supply is at 46 million. And total supply, whatever. Let's just put in 46 million. Even. Looks like total market cap tracks 11 million total. I mean, yeah, duh, it's right there. But 11 million total, 24-hour trading volume. It's not a whole lot of volume, but it's enough. Definitely enough for us. And yeah, it kind of begs the question, is this a valuable competitor in terms of mining this coin instead of other coins? As far as daily trading volume, I don't think so. We're still at below one full Bitcoin of daily trading volume, right? For 24 hours, we're still under a full Bitcoin. That to me looks like maybe there's enough for a few mid-scale miners or smaller miners, but if you had to sell out, we wouldn't want to have a massive rush on Ubik. I have seen Bitsby Trippin talk about Ubik and some of the ecosystem for Ubik having its own DeFi systems, or rather its own porting of DeFi instruments from Ethereum over to Ubik to create an ecosystem, but I don't know what else is trading on it, guys. Energy also that I reviewed on this channel, it's kind of similar as well, but it's a bit of a walled garden. Without bridges out of Ubik over to Ethereum, I think it's going to be a very difficult value proposition to get DeFi running on top of it or NFTs running on top of it. However, it's cool. It still exists. It hasn't, gone away this last year. I don't have a very strong opinion about it though. So maybe, let's also take a quick look at that just briefly. So, yep. Whoa. The blockchain and smart contract platform powering fully decentralized applications, tokens, NFTs, and much more. All right. That makes sense. Contract pools. Ooh, what's this? Enmaku. The first series aimed at helping anyone understand the Enmaku privacy protocol. So it looks like they've forked Tornado Cash, which is very important, I think, as far as maintaining privacy on these networks, guys. Here's the thing. Zcash versus Ethereum. Zcash versus Ubik even. ZK Snarks, the privacy protocol, or the privacy that works at the protocol layer of Zcash, is available on Ethereum. Ethereum won. Zcash lost to Ethereum as far as that goes, because you can rinse not only, or you can do mixing, you can do Z to Z sends, not just of Ethereum, but also of USDT, USDC, DAI, and some other ERC20 tokens. We'll have to do this on another video at another time, another day, but I'm just going to say, you can look up the videos for tornado.cash on YouTube. You'll find tutorials, and Ethereum already does more than Zcash does. Zcash only sends its own native currency. Ethereum will let you send certain ERC20 tokens with ZK Snarks for privacy. It's kind of unreal. The fees are really, really high, as we talked about, makes it very cost prohibitive for certain people around the world. But the fact that it offers this is amazing. And Ubik, I think they were very smart to pick up on this early on. So that's awesome that they forked Tornado Cash to make it work on Ubik. But as far as some of the other ecosystem, the other elements within the ecosystem, I'd love to know what else there is, because they say that they've got tokens and NFTs. And let's see, man, I would need to know. I would need to know what else they're. Here we go. Ubik Markets. I need to know if there's anything along the lines of Uniswap, for example, that's been forked over to it. There you go. Shinobi, protocol for creating liquidity, trading ERC20 tokens on Ubiq. Yeah, that's where it kind of matters. But the rest, Bittrex, BitZ, some of the other trading platforms that are centralized exchanges, I'm really not interested in that at all. That doesn't matter to me one bit. So this looks an awful lot like a Uniswap clone, and that is far better to me. All right. Yeah, wrapped Ubiq, 10 grams, solar, pickle Ricks. That's funny. Dotcoin. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of wrapped representations of other coins that you would know. Looking at the liquidity also, yeah, the most liquid coins that are on here are not coins that you would know. They're not tokens that you would know. That's a bit of a bummer for me. I'm looking at the liquidity pairs. Ubiq versus, what is that, Escher? Yeah, Ubiq versus Escher is the top one. It kind of makes sense. But there's still only about $2 million locked up of value there. And over the last 7 days, almost 16,000 in volume. Fees are not very high either. So locking up for liquidity, there's not enough liquidity to offer any fees over on these far columns here, right? In US dollars, yeah, over 24 hours and then over a year in terms of percentage liquidity. There's just not much being paid out. Ubiq to Geo paid out 34 cents, but almost no other pair paid anything at all. Guys, I've got a bit of a concern as far as that goes. Ubiq looks really, really nice, but they're playing catch up with Ethereum, and I don't understand what the value proposition of Ubiq is over Ethereum, where Ethereum has billions of dollars transacted every day. Ubiq is struggling to pay out 34 cents. Sorry. Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a real bummer. Ethereum Classic might not be all that different as far as that goes, the current picture of Ethereum Classic. And, you know, since I'm mentioning it, I think I've been looking it up for a while. Ethereum Classic, of course, is still a top 20 coin, though. That's the fundamental difference there, and it's valued at $50 a pop, which just blew my mind when it first happened, but there you have it. Guys, and again, I want to make it very clear, if anybody from the Ubiq leadership catches wind of me talking this way or whatever, you send this video to them, they're like, oh, gosh darn this guy. No, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about some of your goals, your aims, your vision for Ubiq, and an actionable plan, like a practical plan for gaining more market share, because just as it is right now, I don't see it. But and I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to speak carelessly about a coin that can maybe turn things around, because you guys have heard me talk about Ravencoin in similar ways, right? Where I don't really get the use case right now. I've made assets on Ravencoin, I have, and I've associated IPFS hashes to those assets on Ravencoin, sure, but nobody, like, there's no marketplace for people to come and buy an NFT from me. That's not what Ravencoin is. It's not an NFT marketplace. That's not what they set out to be. And they've said that, like, maybe it could be, but it's not apparent to me that it is, put it that way. So trying to figure what the market fit is there also. But Ethereum Classic, guys, we got the exact same issue going on with Ethereum Classic, where you've got this really great website talking about all of the what it's supposed to do, and then not really good links out to partner sites that would show you exactly how to get started, right? It's like ecosystem apps and protocols, the state of the ETC apps, where to buy and trade. Like that's okay, but just give me a use case immediately. Like, don't make me dig for it. Really, don't make me dig for it. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It's price sources, instant exchanges, trust minimizing exchange, BISC. Cool. You're promoting BISC, but it's not like, this is not what we're used to with the AMMs like Uniswap. Like, Uniswap literally changed the game, boys. It's so different right now, right? After a world where Uniswap and SushiSwap exist, mean that even BISC looks like a not very good option by comparison, right? The Uniswap protocol lets me trade permissionlessly at the speed of the network. Like, it's that simple. If somebody else is signed on the network showing that they're offering liquidity to create a pair, then it's automatically shown as liquidity that I can buy from, right? Or sell to, whatever it is. Like, it really changes things a lot. Brad asks, what are your opinions about selling one or or 2030 series rigs and buying a 95 terahash ASIC S19 for $7,200. Yeah, or one or two 30 series rigs and buying an ASIC. Got it for that amount. Got it. That's a very, very personal question. That really is, Brad. I'm sorry. I'm going to give you kind of a non-answer. I promise. I'm not trying to give you the runaround without knowing more about your situation. Some people would feel a lot better about holding on to GPUs and letting them mine GPU mineable coins. Case in point. Let's jump back to what to mine. You're talking about the S19 right now. Something that was current when the S9 launched was the Polaris Edition cards, right? So the 8 gig AMD Polaris card, right? The RX 580, and it totally fell out of profitability. But again, we're gonna just put this here. Totally fell out of profitability, but now again today, $2 of profit every single day for every single one of those cards. So we thought this just wasn't going to be profitable anymore. But even at 14-cent power, it's more profitable than an Antminer S9. And the S9, it was purchased, the acquisition price would have been higher back when it was new than for the 580. The 580 can be used in a workstation. It can be resold at retail to gamers or to workstation PC builders, right? For content creators, for any number of other people in secondary markets. And GPUs, they tend to be a better value proposition overall. They tend to decentralize the network more. However, in your situation, if you're looking at keeping something that's very, very simple to work with, ASICs are very simple to work with for sure. If you're looking at doing it at scale, maybe. But if it's just one or two GPUs, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of ASICs. So we've got some comments coming in live from RSM saying that he thinks that they're better. You're not ETH dependent. But here's the thing, an Antminer S9 or an S19, you're totally Bitcoin dependent. Real talk, you are. Let's take a look at the numbers, guys. Let's just validate this, okay? Here's our SHA-256 mineable coins. And with that Antminer S19, you got your choice of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, and then maybe Digibyte. You'll have some others that occasionally kind of like pop into profitability, but really at the end of the day, it's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and that's it. Really, that's it. You have some stuff that is merged mined with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, like RSK. Let's just check that out right now. Rootstock, RSK. Nope. Here we go. Rootstock, RSK. And Rootstock, there we go. It's paired to the price of Bitcoin. It should be merge mined with Bitcoin. And let's just double check here. Smart contract platform. Here's the thing. It's also kind of a joke too. It doesn't actually run anything, right? Like, who's heard of Rootstock? Raise your hand. Yeah, literally nobody. Okay, so while you listen to crickets there, here's Rootstock, and it's powered by the Bitcoin blockchain. It's backed up by it. Yeah, open finance. Don't believe that. Oh my gosh. Come on. Why don't they just show it? Why don't they just show it straight up? It's supposed to be merge mined. The point is, as far as that goes, the point is that there's only so much you can mine with an ASIC too. And you're locked into the algorithm that it mines, and only that one algorithm. And in the case of something like SHA-256, it's pretty much just Bitcoin. That's it. You have other coins that maybe you can mine, but not very profitably. And when it stops being profitable, you've got the difficult choice of having to totally resell that to people who will definitely pay you almost nothing for your ASIC. Like Antminer S9s, even though we've been talking about them on this show as being profitable for the last several months, when we were in the bear market, there were people who were giving away Antminer S9s for the cost of shipping. There were people who were selling Antminer S9s and power supplies by their raw weight, not even because they mined anything at all. They were like, okay, well, it's whatever. It's all together. They've got this pallet load that is 300 pounds of scrap metal. It's literally scrap aluminum. And we're selling it at the bare bones price of the scrap aluminum inside of those boxes. That happens to ASICs during a bear market. When you go into a bear market with GPUs, Yeah, prices go down, but never like that. Never, ever like that, because they're not a fixed function device. GPUs can be used, again, in secondary markets for gaming, for content creation, for machine learning. They can be used for data science because you have very highly parallelized processes for scientific computing that can run on Python that are optimized for NVIDIA cards in particular. There's all kinds of stuff you can make GPUs do that a retired ASIC, it does nothing else. Nothing else. So that's why there's so much of an emphasis on this show on GPUs. Again, the decision is yours. I hope you make a good decision for you. It could be that in your case, maybe an ASIC is a better option. But in my opinion, GPUs are almost always better. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it, boys. So we've looked at a lot of different additional coins. 0x Bitcoin looks very interesting. If you guys take a look at that more closely, I'd love to know more about it. If anybody knows about a properly decentralized, like a DEX or an AMM that's similar to Uniswap or SushiSwap for Ethereum Classic, let me know. I think I've done a couple of cursory searches for it and I haven't seen it yet. But I'd love to hear about it. Hey, we got some new entrants. El Spot Boy says, hey, from Los Angeles. Good to see you, man. Thanks for saying hello. And let's see, Real News 2020 says, all trolling aside, GPU mining typically is more power efficient as well. They're not wrong, dudes. You can absolutely optimize the heck out of a GPU. Very difficult. Very, very difficult to do that with an ASIC. You can get different firmware. It's a different game. That's the thing. You can do liquid immersion cooling. You can do, depending on the controller board, you can potentially add more hash boards to a single controller board. You can get firmware that allows you to add more hash boards to a different controller board, to the same controller board, depending on the model. You can get third-party firmware that allows for an automatic overclock. All kinds of stuff you can do there, but it's very, very highly specialized, and it's meant to create lock-in for you. Yeah, so let's see. Aras is coming back to say, I love Litecoin mining though right now has surprising good ROIs. Please tell me you're not just mining Litecoin if you have L3s or L7s or whatever. Please tell me you're mining Doge as well, because profits have been higher on Doge than on Litecoin. Just saying, you can have both, right? You don't have to choose. Yeah, this is FUD. RS, what are you talking about? That it's way higher risk buying GPUs with not that much better reward. I totally disagree. The resale value on your ASICs is terrible. Unless you return back to a bull market, then your ASICs get valued again. GPUs, sure, the profitability for resale goes down a little bit, but it never hits the same bottom support that ASICs do. Not even close. Nemesis says, ASIC for the win for me, Bitcoin only, but it is an industrial game. And that's where I agree with Nem. If you're talking about 1 or 2 units, that's where I'm like, it's not even close. Not even close. Because onesies, twosies, your resale value for GPUs, it's hard to argue. When you got a warehouse full of like dozens of units, then yeah, it's actually managing that many GPU rigs can be really, really painful. And especially if you're doing it piecemeal with GPU risers and you're doing it a very certain way. Yeah, RS, you're actually making arguments against yourself. So RS says GPU mining also caps faster for someone without a lot of options. If I have 15K, I could buy a lot of GPUs or just one powerful ASIC, for example, an L7. Guys, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to simultaneously agree with them that it's good at scale. ASICs make sense. But we're going to use RS as example of 15K because I think it's a very good example of not being like high-end scale. But 15K to put into GPUs versus 15K to put into an ASIC like the L7, right? Like the L7. The kind of challenge accepted there, right? So let's take a look live. We can go over to, and this is going to be, we're even going to look for bad prices on GPUs, guys. We'll look for bad prices on GPUs and still prove them wrong. So here we are on eBay. Take a look at RTX 3060 Ti, right? We know we've got really good efficiency on this. Here you go, $900. So you know what? Let's be generous and be real dum-dums and pay $1,000, right? So $1,000 on the 3060 Ti, not a great price. Guys, we can agree that $1,000 for a 3060 Ti is not a great price, right? But let's go back over to what's a mine. And let's populate 3060 Ti with 15 of them because it makes the math easy. Makes the math very, very easy based on what RS said, right? So yeah, 15,000 by 15 units, right? So there you go. It calculate at 14 cent per kilowatt hour power, right? So we're actually not optimized on power. We're paying out the nose for power, and we haven't optimized our mining numbers yet. We're not really doing very well here yet, but we're still under 2,000 watts, right? 2 kilowatts at almost a full gigahash. Almost. That brings in $62.94 per day. All right, let's take a look at that single Antminer L7. I apologize off the top of my head. I don't know its current performance, but it looks like specifications 9,500 gigahash on Scrypt. And by the way, guys, that's actually how it's pronounced. It's Scrypt. It's not script. Weird, I know, but think of it like cryptography. Cryptography. Scrypt. I know. Raise your pinky when you say it too. It makes it more awesome. But anyway, so 9,500 or 9.5 gigahash at over 3 kilowatts. So let's go back to what to mine. Let's open up a new tab for ASICs. And now that'll show us our Scrypt numbers right here. And we can put in our 9,500 and we can put in, we'll even round this down. You know what? We'll even give it a handicap. We'll make it only 3 kilowatts. So at 3 kilowatts right there. Yeah, we're earning more per day right now, but resale, not the same proposition. Yeah, megahash. I realize that. Gigahash is 9.5 gigahash. So yeah, he says it's 9,500 megahash, not gigahash. Yeah, so if you just, it's math, dude. Just like move the decimal. But yeah. Yeah, I guys, I realize I said it wrong, but yeah, I did read it correctly. So yeah, then Doge for sure. Yeah, merge mining between Doge. And I think we see that paid out here for NiceHash. But we're looking at a very, very similar value proposition in terms of daily profit, right? A bit more for that ASIC right there. And it is a lot easier to manage. But, and this is a huge, huge, huge but. Look forward 6 months. Let's just pretend you've gotten your profits. You've either pegged to USD or you've pegged to Bitcoin. You've sold to Bitcoin, so you have a really great store of value for the long haul. Or you've pegged over to some, or you've just sold, right? You've just sold for cash if you really want to from those coins. 6 months from now, the L7, its price will drop by 80%. It just will. They always do. ASICs always do. This brand new GPU that just was released this year, it's not going to dip by 80%. You're not going to buy a 3060 Ti for $200 6 months from now. Not going to happen. So you're going to have all the coins you just mined plus all of your initial investment back. If not, close to 80 to 90% of your initial investment back from reselling that GPU. That's where the economics at that scale makes sense. A massive warehouse full of them, no, you can't move it. You'll make the market illiquid, right? If you have hundreds of those GPUs, the math doesn't work out for you, right? So it is at just that in-between spot, right? Small to mid-scale, GPUs all day. So that's why when the question comes in, my opinion is that when it's just 1 or 2 GPUs you're thinking about, I wouldn't make the trade to an ASIC in exchange for 1 or 2 GPUs. The 1 or 2 GPUs they'll have better resale. They'll earn you roughly the same range of coins. And you just have more options, way more flexibility in terms of mining Ethereum today, Ravencoin tomorrow, Ethereum Classic the next day, Zano, Firo, Flux. Did you see how many options we had there? Like so many. And with the L7, Doge. Merge mine with Litecoin, mind you, but it's Doge and Litecoin, and that's it. So like, pick your flavor. If you don't like Doge, you can primarily mine Litecoin, but you have to merge mine Doge if you want to make any money, and vice versa. Unless you really want to go to NiceHash and let them like 51% attack yet another network somewhere else. So anyway, long diatribe there. Let's catch up on some of our comments here. Brad Hardman saying, hopefully the transfer DEX exchange would not be considered as a taxable event. Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to to know what all of these different transfers mean, especially with the new SEC chair saying all kinds of stuff that technically he's not even legally allowed to say. I guess we're finding out now because the SEC doesn't have direct jurisdiction over some things. And we're hearing that from the CFTC commissioner. It's so weird. Like we're seeing battle lines be drawn in our own government. It's good. It's actually good to see the checks and balances come out because it was starting to look very one-sided for a while, but it was weird. Yeah, so Real News 2020 says GPU bros for the win. 3060 Ti is actually my go-to for scalpies. A 3060 Ti scalped is better than a 3090 MSRP. What? Oh my gosh, that is dope. And he's saying our GPUs will have been paid off and now we mine poop coins. That's so rad. Yeah, it's so rad. Guys, it's just a different game. It's a different business model, which is why, I enjoy doing this segment, and we do it live, right? I enjoy doing this segment because there's so many ways for you to flip like one variable for another. And then we still have hardware at the end of the day. Like a lot of us are hardware enthusiasts or gearheads or whatever. We love getting our hands dirty with this stuff anyway. ASICs are great for somebody who's like not quite at that level where you like engaging with the tech and having a bunch of old used IT lying around. And that's fine. It's totally fine if that's you. Really, like I can't stress that enough, guys. I want to see you win, whoever you are, right? Like whatever fits your strengths. I want you to win. So don't like try to like if you're whatever square peg round hole or vice versa, whatever. Don't try to force it. If the ASIC really is a better option for you, like be honest with yourself. You know yourself better. But I think for most people at that in between small to mid scale, and especially like how Real News 2020 is saying there, if you know what you're doing with the resale, GPUs are so hard to beat. They really are. Anyway, rant over there. Jumping back into some of the comments here, though. I see Handyman saying 3070, bro. Maybe me says just go solar power, 100% profit. Yeah, after you pay off your solar panels and your inverter, right, and your battery wall or your capacitor wall, if you have to put in one of those. Come on, man. Still costs. You still got to pay off your costs. You know that. So let's see. RS is saying, yeah, I'm a Doge fan, so that's not a problem. I've got 3 L3 pluses. Oh, cool. But if you can give me some good argument, I'll get GPUs too. Why not? Yeah, man, no, it's good. That's good. I think, here's the thing. If you're really comfortable with them, and again, you're already on that track, fine. The only argument that I can make is that it's like you've heard before and you've been reading before here. It's the resale, man. You get resale on those that is just very, very different. That said, a great business model. I knew somebody who got some L3 pluses during the last bear market, like a lot of them, a whole lot of them, because again, people were selling ASICs like for their bare like scrap metal weight or their bare scrap metal worth. So he picked up a bunch of L3 pluses and he had a warehouse, right? He had warehouse space, so he just kept it there. The market started to pick back up and he started selling them on eBay for like $600 a pop. I mean, it was like instant cash. Where there's every single one that he sold, it was like, yeah, maybe I can mine with this. Maybe I'll get a little more from mining out of this. But for him, it was like, oh no, I just got warehouse space back. I don't have to spend money on power. Like I'm just gonna go cash these out. So yeah, arbitraging hardware or like just selling hardware. It's another way to go. Like there's no wrong way. Again, guys, you do you. But if you know there's a profit margin of whatever, 1,000% on a piece of hardware, I don't care what it is. It can be, it can be cables, USB cables or something, or it can be a custom like special GPU riser that's just for FPGAs. If you know you got 1,000% margin on that thing, and mining, you maybe get 800% margin, like I'm not going to fault you if you go for the short sale, like, or whatever. You go for just the resale instead of mining. I'm not going to, I don't pay your bills. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And especially if there's 200% more margin on the other thing, I'll be like, bravo. And you're like, my man, like you did it. I'm happy for you. Really, I'm happy for you. I want to see you win. So whatever you got to do to get there, right? But that's legal and ethical, right? Whatever you got to do, happy for you. But yeah, that's some argument right there. It's just that, sure, it shows more profit right now, but you may see more profit over the long haul here. If I were being a stickler, right, and we kept this all the way up to the power rating, so 3425. So let's go back here. 34.25. We'll calculate at that full power cost right there. But if I were also being a little more optimized here, right, on the 3060 Ti, guys, we're looking at 58 mega hash on Ethereum right now at 130 watts. What if we actually got that to an even 62? And I think that's probably realistic. I think we've seen people say they're getting an easy 62. So let's get our calculator going here. 62 times 15. Now we got 930. And we'll keep our power consumption the same, right, at 130 per card. So that's always possible, right? Oh, Real News 2020 says he gets 60 mega hash. That might be a little more accurate, but I'm going to say 62 here. Because you see how, like, we do see some of the profits going up, right? So there's any number of these. And RS is saying, so if I'm correct, the plan is just use GPUs with a decent ROI and sell when ETH isn't mineable. Well, that's one way of doing it. You can do it that way. You can also do what's called speculative mining, where there may be some new coins that are not Ethereum, right? To be very clear, because GPUs can mine any number of algorithms. We'll jump back into the list here, right? It can mine the Ka-Pow algorithm, can mine the Auto Lycos algorithm, the Merkle tree proofs algorithm, the Octopus algorithm, the Beam hash algorithm, the Zell hash algorithm, the Cuckatoo algorithm, the Cuckatoo 32 algorithm, and the 31 algorithm, and the Random X algorithm, not profitably, but it can, the X25X algorithm, Kryptonite Haven algorithm. There are all these algorithms that can be mined by GPUs by the same GPU. See, like, they're flexible. So even when Ethereum isn't profitable to mine, it could be that one of these other coins with this other algorithm is profitable to mine. Or you just see a brand new coin launching that uses one of these other algorithms, and you say, all right, I'll mine that for like 3 days early on when it's very first day launching, or 3 weeks early on when it's just launched. And all of a sudden, who knows, out of a coin supply of like a couple 100 million, maybe you actually have like 1 million or 2 of that coin. You actually wind up getting yourself almost 1% of the supply of that coin. If the thing ever even gets valued at over a Satoshi, it's worth something. Like, it's pretty darn cool. Real News 2020 is saying RSM, I would just mine poop coins. And yeah, I agree with him. It's speculative mining. You can find all kinds of different coins that you can contribute to with GPUs. Now, after this cycle, it could be that pastime of gem hunting for speculative mining on GPUs, that maybe we get out of sort of like the golden era of doing that. It could be that it's just not going to be the same after this cycle, but I'm not convinced. Maybe it's just fine. So we'll see. But in the meantime, if that's true of like ASICs, right, where there are a bunch of new like poop coins launching that mine Scrypt, where you can use your L7. If the same holds true for that, all things being equal, right? If all those coins, like the speculative mining on ASICs, if it doesn't come around, well, then your ASIC is still worthless and your GPU still has resale, if that makes sense. That for me is a big selling point in sticking with GPUs, and in particular, like small to mid-scale operations that are run by a business interest or by a capital interest of several people, right? More than one person, where it's like, hey, we need recourse, like, so to speak. We need recourse if something goes wrong, and if if a partner backs out or whatever, we need something to track on paper that this person buys from this person. Hardware helps with that. That's one of the great things about mining. And with GPUs, it can also be like, hey, I don't even want you to buy me out. I just want to cash out. My resale value is good and high on these things. So another way to structure that. RS asks, won't the profit go down a lot once other miners have to move from ETH? Because profit is shared in absolutes. So for example, 10 coins get shared with 100 people instead of 10 suddenly. I don't think I follow. I don't think I follow what you're saying there. I think when ETH goes to full proof of stake, that'll be a big problem. But right now with the London hard fork update, I don't think that the situation that you're talking about is accurate. So yeah, we're not there yet, is what I'm saying. Okay, jumping back through some of the comments section. Brand Central says, actually, the 3060 Ti is the most efficient. And guys, this is not a shocker to me, really. The 1060 was the most efficient in that generation. It was just amazing. The 1050 Ti was actually quite efficient as well. But the 1060, because of the larger memory size, right, the 6 gig memory size, can still mine Ethereum. So as far as being something that could mine Ethereum from when it was launched all the way through till today, most efficient was either the 2060 or the 2060 Super that was the most efficient from that generation. Now the 3060 is pretty good, but the 3060 Ti, like, this isn't a shock to me, guys, that the value, I call them the value and efficiency cards because they are amazing for mining. They're okay on the desktop, right? Like, they play games and stuff, not at the same frame rate or the same detail level as like the top of the line, but they're still pretty amazing. The fact that they can do all that stuff. And for mining, they're like custom made for mining. They're so good because of the efficiency. But at any rate, what I want to do is jump into our Bitcoin chart, take a look at our chopsticks, guys. We made that ramen the other night, if you remember, where it was like, we were looking at our noodles and looking at our chopsticks here on the Bitcoin chart. Let's check back in. Looks like the chopsticks that we made right there, that trend line right there, the low side, right? The support side of our chopsticks, it held pretty true, but then we cut right through some of our candles, some of our trend line there, and it went across the top of our candlesticks. We're a little bit off there. However, we did wind up kind of like intersecting through the range that it did hit. And as far as targets go, that was not that bad. That was really not that bad. Having that descending triangle, kind of like, because we started to see a proper formation, a proper channel, and it was kind of a descending triangle. Maybe it was a little bit more of a channel, right here, but that was not quite accurate. And see where they intersected, that was nearly our turnaround point. We caught a little bounce right there. We went back through that range again, but then we had a reversal, and we've since popped up. I don't think we could have possibly known about that right there, but it is pretty cool that this descending triangle with our chopsticks kind of held. That's just fun and kind of validating. But we do see right here a bit of a reversal right there in the a crossover on the MACD, right, flipping back over, and here we are back on the upside. So we're moving up. We're still in the middle of that movement there. So up and down, right, waves and cycles. Going to be pretty darn cool. Yeah, pretty darn cool. Don't have anything to add to that right now, guys. We're still technically just ranging sideways. We live here still inside of the 30 to 40K range, right? How shocking is this? How much of a surprise is this, guys? We've been talking about it for weeks now, but this is where we live now, right? This is Bitcoin staring at you. Yes, I'm the captain now. Or 30K staring at you between 40K. I'm the captain now. Yeah, we don't get to go up to 40K yet or break out of it just yet. Maybe we will, but I'm not particularly hopeful that that's the case. Yeah, I'm really not. We still see the trend is generally upward though on our 200-day average, but our 50-day is still coming back down. So we'd have to pull out of that slump. Chad is saying stochastic RSI is a great oscillator for crypto. So I still have to learn some of these, and I appreciate you guys' patience with me, but I appreciate that. I'll take a look at it. RSI, just as it's basic stochastic. I'm not familiar enough with the difference between the stochastic relative strength index and just the relative strength index, just RSI. So I've got to do a little more reading on that, but I'm trying to be as open as I can about that, guys. I just want to learn more about this so that I'm not totally helpless, right? That's the biggest thing. Just don't want to be helpless. That's it. I don't want to feel like a chart gets to dominate me, but that my brain gets to at least understand the chart, if that makes sense. But yeah, we're still in that range. We'll be able to draw some more chopsticks pretty soon, guys, and kind of make sense of these noodles. But it looks like we're looking for, or like we're heading towards another possible intersection point between the 200-day and the 50-day there. I think we're going to need another day or two to see. But again, is this advice? No, it is not advice. It's literally just entertainment and education purposes only. If I could, I would literally use crayon to draw these charts, because that's how educated I am in this space. Guys, we've been going on for quite a bit longer than I expected. I didn't think we'd have so many great questions about resale and about different strategies and about different cards and about different brands, guys. Thank you for contributing back to people who are asking questions in the comment section. Like, you were the real MVP. Thank you for being here live. That made a huge difference. If you're watching this in the replay, thanks for watching through and kind of and dealing with some of the weirdness of me talking to the comment section and not directly to you. I love you too, right? You're great. Thanks for being here and watching it after the fact. It's amazing. Definitely appreciate that thumbs up and that subscription, guys. We are rolling out the newsletter. Like, it's going very, very active very soon. So if you haven't already, be sure you're signed up. You'll see that at the end credit roll. Guys, really appreciate you being so supportive and being here live. It means a lot. Like, you're the reason I make this media. Love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you want to be notified of videos like this in the future, first off, click subscribe, press the bell icon. Additionally, you can sign up for the Mind Your Biz email newsletter. That'll give you exclusive access to certain freebies, notifications for deals within the cryptocurrency mining space, as well as some of our flash sales for merchandise, which you can buy with cryptocurrency. That's right. It's the only cryptocurrency merch that you can buy with cryptocurrency. We practice what we preach. As always, thank you so much for watching. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face, and I will see you in the next one.